All right, Hill, this is probably the most important restoration you guys have going on, and a Birdcage Corsair, which were very rare. Why don't you talk about this Corsair in particular?
Well, this is like a lot of our World War II aircraft we have on display. The movements are covered for Lake Biscuit, red crash during carrier qualification during World War II. It's been a challenging restoration. One thing was the way it was down. It was actually into pieces. The tail section is broken off. And so not only did the crew have to restore the elements of the aircraft, they literally had to put the thing back together. What makes the aircraft so challenging is having spent time underwater like they did. And Lake Michigan at this time, and at time of this recovery, at other time, had there a lot of seagull mussels and white skin, which cover the aircraft, and that's not the case earlier on when we started the pull and come late. So there's a challenge of that, getting it all clean. There's the challenge of repairing the fabric surfaces, which largely cease to exist underwater. There's the corrosion control, the metal rework, and then the cockpit instruments, trying to locate instruments or at least read the J3D printing or other elements to try to make the instrument manual as complete as possible. And there are a lot of parts on here that just have to be refabricated. So that takes a lot of research and a lot of technical skill to make these aircraft units and fit them all together so this Lake Minion display. But the goal is it's being repainted as we speak right now. It's
been repainted, so the markings I can see it is an early Corsair. Can you
the two-tone? Essentially, this aircraft doesn't have a lot of significant combat service, so anything that we would replicate. So we decided to paint it in the markings, and it went into Lake Biscuit. So that's what this is. It's mirroring those working.
What's a timeline as far as the restoration goes?
We are looking to complete this thing and have it on display before the end of 2021.
So before the end of 2024. So it's in a matter of a few months. Yeah.
Say some painting into some.
What it's going to be its final location? Have you guys started a specific exhibit or?
It's in our West Wing.
West Wing. Yep.
Our World War II section. And right now, we're considering actually suspending it, so at our mezzanine level, so people can actually go up and get a look at it. Because we have other Corsairs that people on the floor that people can actually go up and look at. Sure. And I think the impact of a Corsair with that inverted gull wing, seeing it in that, I'm not going to say in flight, but in an attitude where it's suspended, they could appreciate the design. It's going to be real.
For those that are not Corsair aficionados or experts, tell us what a Birdcage Corsair is.
The Birdcage Corsair derives from the canopy. Unfortunately, it's closed right now. But the Corsair, when they first appeared, the canopy had a lot of separate panels to it. Each one of those panels divided in a grid with metal. And later on, to improve visibility, the Corsair adopted a bubble canopy, which is more rounded, offered much better visibility. And more Corsairs has a bubble canopy than they did the original canopy, which resembled a Birdcage because of those grids, and that's why they're called Birdcage Corsairs. And Birdcage is another word for Curway Corsair in the timeline of production. This Corsair was in production longer than any piston engine aircraft in history. They were still flying in Korea. So as early version of it is pretty significant.
All right, Hill, this is the second part of the interview we filmed a few hours ago. And this is probably the most exciting part for everyone watching the video. This is the flight line behind you. And behind me, we're going to go in, and in a second, it's the restoration area. So why don't you walk us through the flight line first, and then the restoration area.
Okay, what makes the museum here in Pensacola unique is for our visitors is you can experience the history of naval aviation, and then we have Blue Angel practice flight demonstrations during the flight demonstration season. The Blue Angels are based here, and during those times, visitors can actually walk onto the flight line here and view the Blue Angel practice flight demonstration. So they're able to see not only naval aviation's past, but naval aviation's present and future. And the flight line is where we keep many of our aircraft that are either too large to fit to the main building, or even if they're not overly large, we just don't have the room to put them in there. And so you see aircraft of all vintages out here. And the more famous ones that are located out here is a C-130 Hercules. That was the one that did some of the flight trials on board the USS Forstall, did the landings and takeoffs on Forstall. We have an aircraft that was the first plane of the Commander-in-Chief Pacific Fleet during the Vietnam War. We have an A-3 Sky Warrior, the last one that was operational. We have actually a MiG-29 that came in from the Air Force not too long ago, and a host of other ones. So the flight line is a place where just certain parts of our collection are on outdoor display. And of course, we have, when you have aircraft like this on outdoor display in Florida, which with salt air and heat and sun, that takes a toll. So that's our restoration hangar. We have an aircraft restoration and maintenance department, and those dedicated staff members are the ones that actually conduct periodic washes of these aircraft, and in many cases do full-fledged restorations of them as well. And so that's what's going on in our hangar right now with the restoration of the Corsair, and also there's an aircraft they just pulled off the flight line that they're doing a refurbishment of and repainting.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about the hangar behind us. That's you were saying, a 1950 hangar, so historical hangar, and this is where all the restorations go on. Can you talk about the restoration department, how many people are working on it, and things like that?
We have currently we have 5 full-time staff members in restoration, and they're supported by a small group of volunteers. Back during the museum's heyday of bringing aircraft up from Lake Michigan, there was a much larger team of volunteers, but just the passage of time has diminished that number, and so primarily a lot of the work rests upon those 5 permanent staff members. We also have active duty military volunteers while they're awaiting to start their course of instruction in the Navy. Periodically, some of them will help volunteer back here, and for them it's pretty special because they get a chance to experience history of what they're becoming a part of. And so that's what they do. It's a big effort. It's a giant effort to upkeep these things, but they do a wonderful job.
Gotcha.
Currently, they're working on finishing up the F-4U-1 Birdcage, and then they're also working on a Huey helicopter, doing some corrosion control and repainting. They're doing some corrosion control on a T-38 Talon, which is actually the provenance of that particular aircraft. It was assigned to Top Gun, the Navy Fighter Weapons School, during the 1970s, and also was assigned to the Navy Test Pilot School at Tucson River, Maryland. And then the latest arrival is an HH-60, which is a version of that particular helicopter that supported Special Operations Forces in Afghanistan and Iraq. So if that helicopter could talk, it would have some amazing stories from those combat operations. And that'll be the next major project they move on to.
Perfect. Let's go and check out some of these restorations.
Sounds good.